Damn. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while. Well, if you guys are doing well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the You Good Homie podcast. This is episode 21. It's been a while. It's been 8 months since we released our last episode. Life just kind of happened for all three of us. I've been busy with work and such, so couldn't really record, but we're here now, and our topic today is very fitting to that. It's we talk about adult friendships, you know, how hard it is to make and maintain friendships in our 20s, what strategies we use to, you know, keep up with our friends, and advice we can give for people who are struggling with the same. So hope you guys enjoy the episode. Make sure you guys follow us on our socials to keep up. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. And yeah, hope you enjoy. Peace.
Say hello to my little friend.
Hey.
Hey, yo. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Damn. Where have you been, guys? Damn, I don't know, man.
It's been 8 fucking months.
It's been 8 months.
March.
April, May, June, July,
8 months.
August, September.
Yeah, use those fucking fingers to count.
What can I say?
Welcome back to the You Good Homie podcast. I recently changed my bio to the sporadic but helpful UGH podcast because we actually are pretty sporadic.
That's so true.
Sorry, it's been a while. You know, I think we kind of had to live life for a little bit more. before
Live,
we
laugh, love. Where the fuck is
Come
it?
back.
Where is the live, laugh, love, bro?
Oh fuck! It's on the
it's
here.
Let me set. You keep talking. I'll set it up.
Yeah, we had to live life a little bit. You know, we all got pretty busy. And we're gonna kind of talk about that in this episode because it's a good segue. Today, we're gonna be talking about adult friendships because Vince, Jason, and I, and Lawrence are all adults, well into our 20s.
I don't feel like an adult. Sometimes.
It's really hard to keep that type of friendship, you know. But before we do that, let's kind of do like a little catch-up segment.
Yeah,
what you
like
guys have been
that.
up to.
Let's go from left to right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so let's go. Let's go, Vince.
You're left or right? The audience left.
Let's start with
Left
let's,
cheek, right cheek.
let's start with Vince, and then we'll work our way around.
All right. How's it going? Make sure you like and subscribe to let YouTube know. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm there.
Oh, life's been good. I've just been busy. I think since the last time we recorded, on the work front, it's been big change because I'm now based on site. So basically, my work.
anymore.
No, I'm not remote anymore,
Ah,
which
okay.
sucks. So instead of being like a 9 to 5, 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, office worker, I now work 1 week on, and I get 1 week off. So I fly up to site and, you know, do my thing there, 12-hour days. No, it's okay. And then I come back, I get 1 week off. So it's pretty nice. So.
Is this in our home city or do you fly somewhere to?
No, I fly up to Fort Mac area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's deep.
It's
but,
deep, bro.
you know,
It's deep.
It's fun.
It's oil country.
Alberta.
Yeah, we are known for oil and gas and
Yeah.
destroying the land.
Yeah.
well-
Not to dox ourselves, but we're from Calgary, Alberta.
Yeah,
I'm
Hey,
sure
we've
everyone
doxed
knows.
we've doxed ourselves so many times.
I'm sure everyone knows.
I think as long as we're not doxing our individual addresses, I think
Yeah.
we fine.
What?
Based on the
I
hood.
live in.
We're based in the hood, Northeast Calgary. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the only big major change in my life. I mean, having 1 week off has allowed me to, you know, travel lots. So I've done lots of traveling the past year. My bank account has taken
It's
hits,
Let's go.
but you know, as Ronald said, we're living life.
True.
love.
Vince, if you could like name a couple of the places that you've been to.
Yeah, please tell us.
This year.
Yeah. This year.
So this year, to start off, I went to the Philippines.
Hey, back to
Hey,
homeland.
Okay.
I went to Singapore,
Ooh.
and then I went to Vancouver for Jackson Wang.
Ooh, Jackson Wang.
I've been to Vancouver. Yeah.
It's a great place. where did I fucking go to? Oh, I went to Seattle.
We went to Seattle.
Check out my vlog. I just released it.
Just link it. They click away from this video.
Yeah, put it here.
Hyperlink should be in the front, you know? Like,
Oh, remember when you had like those colorful hyperlinks? Like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went to California, Berkeley. Watched AJ Raphael,
Nice.
and then next week I'm going to Vegas for my birthday. You're gonna be there too.
Oh,
Damn.
next week?
Yeah.
Nah.
You're not going.
No,
I thought you were
no,
going.
No. I have school, bro.
Oh man, boo.
Homework.
And then finally to end off the year, I'm going to Mexico in November,
Yeah, let's go.
and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Vince, big travel. It's a big travel year for
Exciting
Vince,
life,
for
yeah,
sure.
man. Yeah.
Exciting life.
Engineering.
If I had advice for people, like if you have the means and you have the time, just you should do it while you're young.
Yeah.
for sure.
get out there.
Because I mean, like if once you get married, once you have kids, like
Your life is over.
your life is over. Like you don't want to take your kids traveling anywhere.
It's
like,
it's hard. It's hard for sure.
Yeah.
especially when they're like really really young.
I think
You want them to at least be conscious enough to experience it.
their frontal lobe needs development.
Yeah, for
No,
real.
I think that's true because I know, like, for example, like my parents took me to like Disneyland when I was younger, and like I didn't enjoy it because there was a lot of walking.
Yeah.
But if I was like this age, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more than it was.
Yeah,
for-
just swinging around with lightsabers and taking Star Wars shots and shit like that. You know?
Yeah.
The juice of my enemies. But yeah, okay, let's move on. So Jason, what you been up to? last 8 months?
Yeah. Still working my same production job. I don't even think I mentioned my work now, like what I'm working. But basically, I do 3 days on, 3 days off. So it's a very awkward schedule. I used to
Yeah.
work a night shift, but now it's like I'll work 3 days and 3 days off. So regardless of the 7-day week, like some days I'll have a Monday off. Sometimes I won't. It depends on like if the day lands on the 3 days off per se.
Yep.
So this is the first day of my days off.
Let's go.
So like literally our podcast schedule is gonna be so ass like going
Yeah, yeah.
forward.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
But
For
I'm
sure.
planning to go to school next year, so I'll probably be like a student like yourself, and then we'll see how that goes. In terms of traveling, yeah, I mean I'm debt free, just to put myself back in debt,
Oh my god, I love putting myself.
Yeah, I went to Mexico in February. No, that's a lie. I went to Mexico in April.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was
early.
It was pretty early in the year, but not like too early.
Yeah, and then I went to Vancouver with you for the esports tournament. Then I went to Vancouver again for a wedding, and then I went to Toronto for I went to Toronto for like Sammy Ray and the Friends is their name. They're like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
band. They're like I don't even know how to define their genre, but they have like a bunch of instruments. They have like the saxophone, flute. There's just one artist that could play like a bunch of things. She could play the keyboard, the what's this thing called?
The accordion.
yeah. And then she plays that guitar that has the piano, and then she started playing the flute, and she started playing the drums. Like not all at once, but literally after every transition of every song, she would switch instruments.
Damn.
And it was
that's sick.
one of the
talent.
yeah, it was one of their band members, and I was like, dang, that's crazy. Yeah, so a lot more traveling than I thought would be. I was hoping to be like. This year was supposed to be like the money saving year, but like I ended up just scratching out the window.
Yeah, hell no.
Yeah, I think maybe next year when I'm a student, I'll probably saving
Oh,
money.
for sure.
Yeah, because you kind of have to. But yeah, mostly just working and traveling and whatnot. Oh, and also I've been dancing a lot more.
Yeah,
there's
let's
not
go.
there's
Back to
not a
dancing.
lot of competitions in Calgary, but I know one of my friends. I mean, he's public. Jordan Bailey. He's been trying to.
I love Jordan.
And
Shout
trying
out
to
Jordan.
advocate for me to participate in more things, and I've been trying to follow through. Yeah, but that's about it. What about you, Lawrence?
Sweet. So after working part time for about 3 years and being in school for 4, I finally landed something kind of permanent.
Let's go.
Not kind of.
Full-time
It's like
job.
actually permanent, bro.
Actually,
You're working
yeah.
full time, bro.
So yeah, I'm full time. I'm back to that. I'm actually on a 9 to 5, and I'm still getting used to it. This is my first experience like, working just such consistent hours instead of 10-day benders. Working like 12
No.
hours.
No.
And, a night shift into a morning shift because I
Oh
work with someone else.
no, not the night shift into him.
Or
Right.
just struggling to see when I get paid again because I've just been working part time so much. It's like I don't want to work as often. I want to live life.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I did send off the past 8 months pretty nicely with traveling a lot as soon as it hit spring because I actually got the offer in around March, April. and they were like, we can start you in June, and I was like, oh crap, so that's my summer gone. And then they were like, no, actually, let's do it in September. So kind of following like a fall semester type of thing.
Nice.
Where I just first start, and I did a lot over the summer, right?
Bro, you went on like hella benders.
I caught almost every single concert at Cowboys Music Festival, which is a pretty big
In Stampede, yeah.
pretty big thing that happens during Stampede week. And I also worked that, so if I did see you, my fault for not saying hi if you are watching or if you recognized me there at all. So there was that. Then I went to Montreal. I went to Vancouver too.
Yeah, you went to Montreal.
With Jason and Kuya. I've yet to travel with Vince. So I'm
Yeah,
waiting for that.
I got travel again.
What else have I done? And I've definitely shot my shot like about maybe 15 times.
Stop.
And just like when you hold the R2 trigger and you just let it fly, none of the shots get hit. So
This guy's
You
just
heard it-
bringing
you heard it
brains,
here
huh?
100% of the shots you don't take.
yeah, and but I've been taking them, and I still miss.
Hey man,
okay,
one of them's
it's
gonna
okay,
land
it's okay.
eventually.
It's
Yeah,
okay, don't lie, bro.
other than that, it's kind of a blessing. I don't know if you guys are in your. I got into a point where having a stable income is actually something that's actually pretty nice.
Yes. Yeah.
I understand about like hustling and being about your bag nonstop. But when you just have something stable, it's just nice to just switch that up.
Yeah, bro. It's nice to fuck off for a minute.
Yeah. Other than that, like still gaming.
Benefits go crazy, bro.
Yeah, still gaming. We got girls.
You got girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight SD.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Shout out to what's Philip's
Young Metal.
Young Metal
Metals
Syndicate.
or
Shout out
something.
Young Metal
Young Metal
Syndicate.
Syndicate. Young Metal
Shout out Young
Syndicate.
Metal Syndicate.
And also, just promoting events in Calgary too. Also been doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you work for Commonwealth now, Lawrence?
No, it's actually Blueprints. So it's basically like just events at Commonwealth and Palace Theater, and also New Bounce. So my favorite Filipino DJs.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
bro.
shout out Ray
That's
CC.
the
Shout out
Filipino
Ray
function,
CC.
man. Yeah.
Shout out Ace. Yeah. That's about it.
Nice.
Nice.
We love the club.
We love the club.
All right, Ronald. What's up with you?
Yeah, so in the last 8 months, I think the two biggest progressions in my life, I got a girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Was that in the last 8 months?
Yeah, it was in the
Yeah,
last
that
8
was
months.
not. It was definitely not in the last episode. Yeah, I forgot. Oh,
There we
I
go.
think Beacon and I now have been dating like almost 9 months now. Yeah,
How many?
Because we started dating a month before we kind of like stopped filming UGH and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bean and I have been dating 9 months. I love my girlfriend.
I love my girlfriend.
Yeah, no, it's been great. And then I went back to school after taking a couple years off and kind of figure out what I want to do, and playing lots of video games and dicking around. I went back to school for user interface design. Yeah, so
Let's go.
making websites and shit for people, but that's the broader sense.
Let's go.
But working full time and going to school full time. It's always fun. I'm always hustling.
PORNHB. The graphic design.
Graphic design. But yeah, no, it's been fun. I've been enjoying school this time around because I think the first time I went to school it was just really shit. And,
Yeah.
I did not want to be there half the time, but this time it's
I was
like,
there with
actually,
you.
yeah, bro. It's like now I actually really really want to be there, and it's like I'm in school with really good people, and I'm taking classes I really am invested in. So it's it's super fun, and I'm super fulfilled by it. But yeah, other than that, I went to Seattle for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
Oh
no,
my
not for the first time, but the first time as an adult, with Vince, and that was really fun. That was actually since COVID. That was my first time going out of country.
Oh damn.
So it was really fun to experience that. And then I think I didn't go to Vancouver with you guys. No, I didn't. Yeah, I remember.
you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't. Because I wanted to save money, and I
I mean,
love my girlfriend.
That's fair. No, okay. I will give you that because the year before that I skipped out because I wanted to save money. So
Yeah,
I totally understand.
Yeah, because I was going back to school in the fall. I remember that's why I didn't go with you guys. But I didn't, because we've been planning Seattle for like a really long time, so I ended up going to Seattle. I went to Golden, went on a little cabin trip. But yeah, I didn't really do a lot this summer, just because like I was just like really kind of focused on making my bag and
Yeah.
getting back in that back to school mentality.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm just kind of like living, laughing, and loving.
Living,
Gym,
laughing,
work,
loving.
school, and
My girlfriend.
my girlfriend, and beating my meat.
Let's go.
but yeah.
All fulfillments of men.
Okay, to segue that, since we've all been very, very busy in our lives, today's topic, we're actually going to talk about adult friendships.
Yeah.
And, how to keep them.
Before we started the episode, I did a little research. We won't have to go through statistics because sometimes going through statistics is boring and can also just whatever. But usually, I think one of the things we were talking about was like in our group chat was like how hard it was to maintain adult friendships. It's a lot harder than it was when we were younger, right? So
for sure.
today we're kind of talking about like maybe the perspective of like what changed over the time and like how we feel about adult friendships. But like as we get started, like what would you guys define as a friend? Like what is that for you guys?
Should we start on that side?
Yeah, we can start here.
The audience is left.
Yeah, the audience is left.
I would define a friend as just like someone you consider like yourself somewhat close to. I wouldn't because I would consider like a close friend like someone that like I can tell like a secret to. But whereas a friend, I wouldn't really confide like more personal details. But I wouldn't mind hanging out with them. You know what I mean? Or like, making plans with them. But like the contents of our conversation isn't necessarily going to be like
deep.
Yeah.
it's not going to be like, oh, like what's your deepest fears, like
I'm scared.
it'll be more like, so if it's like a smash friend, then I'll be like, oh, like yo, like how did you feel about that last patch or some shit like that, or like oh, like how do you think what do you think about this matchup, or like if it's like a school friend, like if it's a school friend, like oh, like how do you find this class, like what do you think of this prof, like and it doesn't really expand past that, but I would still consider them a friend because it's like, like I see them often and I talk to them often and hang out with them pretty often, but like it's not that deep.
How would you define a friend that isn't related to proximity in terms of activity? Like, do you have a definition for that, or is that
I would consider that more like a like a distant friend, or like if enough time has passed, like an old friend.
okay? All right.
Because it's like if I haven't seen them for a while, like say they live in a different city, or like I just haven't visited that city, or like we just don't see each other that often, I'd still consider them like an old friend.
Nice.
Like
acquaintance.
not necessarily an acquaintance, because an acquaintance is like you don't
know
really know
them.
that person, you know
of them,
and you'll
okay,
say what's up when you see them,
Yeah.
but it's just like there's no really history behind that.
You're
you know what I
acquainted
mean?
with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Whereas like an old friend is like you guys do have a history, and you'll still say hi and it's all love when you see each other, but you're just not as up to date with what they're up to and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So how I would define a friend for me personally as well would be like, I don't know, we actually interact outside of the place that we usually see each other, right? And we actually enjoy like similar activities. There just has to be a shared common interest in order for us to be friends, just so I can see like the potential as to what it could go towards.
Yeah.
So for example, like, oh yeah, we play games, but all we ever do is play games. And when we do play games, we just talk about games.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's not a friend.
Like
you know?
tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, like, oh yeah. Oh, Connect 4 was so fun. I play Connect 4 some more. I'm like, okay. Because we're not going to talk about like anything.
Yeah.
Other than, like, what we are interacting about, then
I
I just have to see growth and potential in order for me to be your friend, or for us to continue that like type of connection or relationship.
Yeah.
right?
I want to follow up.
I get that. It's kind of like when you join the Discord call and it's like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's
That's
silence.
such a good analogy.
And it's silence. Whereas like if it's like a friend, you could like talk about like how was your day, like what's going
Yeah.
on in your life and stuff like
What's
that.
good?
It's like,
You know.
hey, what's up, guys?
In addition to talking about like whatever you do or
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
a
yeah.
game or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between like you have a shared common interest and then you're a friend.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And
Yeah.
yeah. I think a lot of people sometimes can't distinguish that. And I think when people start to think about that, that's where kind of like, oh, like, do I have any friends? And a lot of people might, question that. Are you sorry? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I have a pretty base understanding of what
Yeah.
it is to me personally, and that's about it.
I think people have a general understanding of what a friend is, because like usually what I define, or like the properties that someone must have to be a friend, is usually like intimacy and trust.
Exactly.
Right. It's like
Yeah.
if you see someone, right, there's a difference between like, hey, like if you see that person, you only talk to them about school, right? Versus, hey, how are you? How's your day? You know, and like they're actually willing to open up, and then you're also willing to open up to them about something, right? Where it's some sense of trust and intimacy, as opposed to just like, oh, we do things together, right? And like I think as kids, maybe friends was more about proximity, like you were in the same grade.
Yeah.
But as a-
neighbors.
Yeah, but as an adult, like the perspective of friendship is really kind of changed. And for some people, they define friends differently. Some people kind of see as transactional. I think I've mentioned that in the past, like a business partner,
Yeah.
a comrade, right? But some people are more like someone that, you know, is unconditional. And obviously, people have different properties of what, you know, is defined as a friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, like usually for me, like it has to be a lot. Like intimacy and trust are usually two variables to be, you know, considered a friend. Yeah.
For me, it's like kind of like wrap up a lot of the things you guys said too. So differentiating between like a friend and a close friend. So let's say I saw this. I was watching a video again, trying to prepare for this.
That's what I did. I tried studying, but I was like, I just started watching a video. I was like, oh.
It's so much easier. So kind of a sidetrack. It's so much easier to consume information in video
Which
form.
I want to talk about that in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
later episode about information, but sorry,
Yeah.
go on.
So I was watching a video. It was saying like, so the difference between friends and close friends, is like, if you guys are like riding in a limo, right? Like you're living life, so to say. Your close friends, the ones that you would value the most, are the ones who would take the bus with you when the limo breaks down,
Yeah.
or who would like walk with you to get to your next destination, right?
Yeah.
So those people who are really there for you in the good times, but also won't leave you when you're down in the dumps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had this experience a lot with some of my friends, whether I'm there for them or they're there for me when I gotta point out this. I gotta point out this guy, Ron. When when you're having your girl troubles. And last year, I think it was last year, and you would call me at like 11 p.m. and stuff, and just cry, and I was like, I don't mind. I was there.
It's like I get it.
Like I get it. I feel your pain. Like I don't care if I have to stay up with you and listen to you. Like
It's worth it. It's worth it.
It's worth it. You know, because I care about this guy, and he's been my friend, right? And I think that's like what differentiates between a close friend. Like a friend would just be like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's
Like,
cool.
oh, that's crazy, bro.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like doing something on the side, you know, because it's so easy on a Discord call. You're just like
Yeah.
fucking on in the range and Valorant while you're listening to someone. vent.
That's crazy, bro.
But if you're a close friend, you're actually listen.
You're actively listening.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that's very much lost in like today's friendships. Like I don't know if it's just me, but during COVID, we had a lot of the Discord calls, right? And so there were a lot of people who we knew and like we would talk to and have some sense of like a relationship in the sense that, you know, we were having a good time together, we were enjoying each other's time. But as like, you know, we start to go out in the world, you know, we go back to our full-time jobs, full-time school, whatnot. Just the idea of like having like someone to truly call a friend, I feel like it is a lot more rare nowadays. Like I was doing some like research with like because I'm talking about the videos that like I've noticed that I've been trying to stop watching YouTube videos and just actually look at cooperative data and just to actually like find out what's going on instead of just having some person like according to Wikipedia blah blah blah, you know. But a lot of the common themes were just like a lot of people have a smaller amount of close friends, like 3 or 4. And like that kind of makes sense. Like like it's harder to share that energy with so many people as much as you would like to. Like you would have to almost set a boundary, like, hey, I can only be there for so many people, right? Yeah. But I think just the idea of like being able to share something like that, like a breakup or something that's like you wouldn't share in public, is I think really breaks the line of like a friend and a good friend. Yeah. Anything to say, Lawrence?
Yeah, because sorry, I was gonna say something stupid.
No,
Say
go
it,
ahead.
man.
No,
Just
like-
say- Shoot.
close your friends are. It's either their friends or family, because friends end with end, but family ends with I love you.
Oh, that's a clip. That's a clip.
So
The thing is, we're gonna clip
Yo,
them.
somebody post that on Tumblr. Oh.
Family.
Fast and Furious.
We're gonna clip them.
Family.
We're
Anything
gonna,
is possible, family.
That's with I love you.
Friends.
we're gonna clip them with braces on too. That's the fun part.
Fuck y'all.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say, how would you guys like compare your friendships in the past, like let's say high school, university, even like down to junior high, elementary, compared to like your friendships now? Like, what are some of the things that are different, or are some of the things that are the same?
I think like in high school, it was definitely friendships out of proximity and situation. Because I was actually talking about this with another friend of mine at school. Shout out Chris, but we were talking about high school, and I was talking to him about like, oh, like I used to hang out with this person and that person and these other two people, and I was like, and I was just reminiscing memories with him because we were talking about high school, and then I was like, oh, like I wonder how they're doing, but like I really realized I was really only friends with them because we had the same spare, and like we all were like before that we were all just acquaintances, like we knew of each other, like we didn't grow up together, so it wasn't deep like that, and we didn't really like hang out with each other like all throughout high school up until that grade 12 year, because we were all just happened to be in this under the same circumstance, and we all just happened to hang out together. And like I would like out of one of them, I literally only still talk to one of them, and like I would still only consider her a friend. I wouldn't really consider her a close friend anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think like a lot of high school and even university friendships are just made out of convenience and proximity, because it's like if you see those people every day, you might as well enhance, like if you're going to that same if you're going to that same institution or that same place every single day, you're obviously going to want to make good with some of the people there so that your experience is better,
Yeah, of course.
right? But like take out that institution, outside of it, are you really hanging out with that person? Do you really know that much about that person to like them that much? You know what I mean? Other than like, oh, we're in the same program, or oh, we have the same spare, or oh, one person has a car and we all don't. You know what I mean? Like it's like that. Whereas like I find myself, my adult friends, like I see them consistently. I'm talking to them consistently. I'm in multiple group chats with them consistently. Like the in-person medium isn't the only thing that we use to stay connected. We use like, I find myself using social media to stay connected with them, using other things. And I think like just having that constant communication or that constant medium makes them friends in particular. Whereas like, I don't know, for like people who I just kind of go to school with, or people that like, I just kind of knew from high school, I don't really talk to them like that online or whatever. Yeah. But like with like Ziad, Gemma, Lawrence, like yourself, and even Vince, like we're constantly either sending memes to each other,
Shout out to
staying,
Bob's in Virginia.
we're saying like stupid,
that chat says
we're saying like stupid shit, or we're sending each other like posts privately, or like we're texting each other just out of the blue, like like Gemma every now and then will just like send me a voice note that's like, oh, I love my girlfriend, oh, and it's just like, it's like, yeah, sure, like they're clowning me, but like at the same time, like I appreciate it because he's still thinking about me, you know what I mean? But that's what I would like consider the biggest difference, is like it's not necessarily that we like with friendships in particular, adult friendships, we don't drift away because we're constantly sharing each other's lives under a different medium through the internet. And I'm sure like even if we didn't have the internet, we'd be doing phone calls and shit all the time, like group phone calls and stuff. But yeah, like that's what I would consider like the biggest difference between adult friends and high school friends.
I think as bad as it is to say, like high school friends, and even to a certain extent university friends, maybe even more of an extent university friends, friendships were often like very transactional. Not only were they like convenience, they were also transactional. Like for example, I know of a person, I won't say his name, but we're probably like he would drive us from school back home, right? And not to say that's the only reason why we hung out with him, but you know, if you know, if he wasn't able to, you know, if he didn't offer to drive us home all the time, would we have been, you know, that
That's
close
close.
with him?
Yeah,
Because we were in the same classes, we were in the same program. Like, we would have no reason to talk to this guy, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it just so happens to, you know, since we went to the same high school, and we, you know, we ate lunch together, and you know, this guy had a car that he can drive
Yeah,
us home. Then you know, we were friends with him. I wouldn't say like my definition of friends now aligns with that necessarily, because like we weren't deep like that. And also like in uni and high school is like you're friends with your classmates because, you know, if you want to study together or if you miss class, like they can share notes, stuff like that, right? So that's also kind of transactional in that sense. Like you would still hang out with them, talk about other stuff, but like the main underlying purpose is so that you can get through this program together,
Yeah.
yeah.
right?
It's like you hang out with them because you're both off class at the same time. right?
Exactly.
It seems more goal oriented than like, because like I guess if it were to go outside that boundary of driving, you know, home and to school, it's like your friends outside of that, but because you had a shared common goal,
Yeah.
that's why you would,
Yeah,
you would,
exactly.
yeah.
And then, like, just to answer that question, I guess, like, what's different from my friendships back then to now? I would say the big one and the most important one is we hold each other accountable a lot more.
Yeah.
I feel like in especially high school,
Oh, you're actually bringing a bunch of memories. Yeah.
especially in high school, you would just like be on your friend's side no matter what. Like if they were wrong, like you would still be like,
asshole.
oh yeah, like that guy or that girl was an asshole. Like fuck them, right? Like fuck them. And now that we're more mature, I am not afraid to say like, hey, I think you're in the wrong here.
Yeah, bro. You can't be doing this shit, dog.
And I'm not afraid to lose our friend. I feel like in high school, when you're kind of in that mentality, you're afraid to call your friends out because you're afraid of losing them. You're afraid of being
social
like-
currency was very more important in high school.
Yeah, exactly. But now that you're like, oh, I'm an adult, I don't like.
I don't go fuck. Yeah.
Like, I don't need
Like, I mean,
that type of friend.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
You know, if I lose this person because I told them that they were in the wrong, like, at least I was doing the right thing. Right?
I think that's one thing we kind of developed as an adult, just being a little more confrontational when someone's in the wrong. Because I'm like you literally just stirred my brain about even some people that we know acquaintedly that like, you know, we're kind of problematic.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of cliquey, so we would just defend them even if in the wrong, right? But as you get older, it's like, no, like I want to make sure that, you know, first of all, everyone in the friend group is like treated with respect, and to make sure that we're not problematic as people, because as an adult you want to behave like an adult, and you're not. It's not kid friendship; it's adult friendships, right? So you want to make sure that you're not, I don't know, like offering some other people drugs, you know, or you know, just something like fucked up, right? So yeah, like I think it's very important to understand that you don't always have to be permissible when your friends are being assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think now our friendships are also, you know, they're less shallow, I would say. Like there's obviously still some gossip and
some like shallow
and some
friendships for
marites
sure. Yeah.
once in a while. But
Marites.
most of the time it's like when you ask, at least for me, when I ask my friend how are you doing, or when they ask me how I'm doing, I know it's genuine, because it's like you're not just saying that just because like that's how you start a conversation. You actually care about like what's going on in my life.
It's a real prompt. It's not
Yeah.
like a
exactly.
small talk. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it-
I think for me in the past, like I definitely had a hard time retaining friendships. Because I definitely think when I was younger, I was very much in the perspective of like trying to make sure what benefits me, which again, like I think going back to the whole like the hustle and grind, so you become more of a hustler as opposed to a helper. As I get older, trying to shift that perspective of like instead of valuing like competition, you know, like, you know, doing what benefits me, like be like almost like delusion of like, oh, this is what self-love looks like, but you're really just being like self-serving, right? But being more like I guess altruistic towards your friends, like making time not because like you have to or because it benefits you, but because like that's your friend, right? And I think especially in high school, like a lot of the friends that we've had actually were like we were kind of in the same classes and we kind of like always had lunch together, like we all had that kind of lunch area, right? And like there's some people that are still there in our lives, but there's some people who have like just kind of are not there anymore. But I think what kind of differentiates is that like because we don't have that like lunch period or those like classes together, like I'm willing out of my own free time to see said person. I'm trying to actually make time because like, and it's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot harder having a full-time job and like always been busy. I was talking to like Ronald Lawrence and like the friend group that we kind of have was like apologize like, hey, like I've been working night shift, I can't like see you guys, and they're like totally understandable about it, which I was very grateful for. But like like out of my own free will, trying to make sure that I'm there, even if like I can't always be, which I think really changes because in high school it was more like it was convenient. Yeah. But for now it's like, oh, like I'm trying to make it convenient when it's not.
It's like in those times, like it was easy to be friends with people because you were always there. Like you had no choice.
Yeah.
You had to go to school.
Yeah.
Right? But now it's like what you said, it's hard. People got lives, people got jobs. Some people are fucking married, like they
they got kids and shit.
People younger than us
dogs.
are having kids, and I'm like, fuck, I'm getting old.
So old as shit. What the fuck?
So I feel like now, like when we all hang out with, like in this setting or other friend groups, we value our time a lot more. Like
Yeah.
we don't like waste our time with like like gossip about what was in the past or something like that.
Yeah,
Like, we
I don't
actually-
give a fuck.
Yeah, I've
'cause
noticed.
it's like you're wasting your own time because like you've made time
And just
to be
negative. If you make it a negative time,
negative, make it a negative time exactly. Yeah.
I think that's one thing I noticed that because like sometimes I don't always see you as often, but I see these two more often. Like as recently, I haven't really seen much people, but when I follow up with any of you guys, as of recently, I don't find. I mean, sometimes, but I don't really find like like it's there to badmouth. It's like, hey, what's your plan? What's the move? What's the game plan? How are we gonna have a good time?
Yeah.
Which I think I very appreciate.
What's the move? You know what I mean?
But like in fucking high school, it was like some shit happened between so and so, and like you have
hear
to.
about what happened about this.
It's like, bro, you'll never guess.
Yeah, he sucked his dick. Like it's just some like weird thing. And then like you have to kind of pick a
Only
side.
touch
and
the
just-
tip.
And you're like, oh, and especially when you're young and awkward, like, oh, I don't like confrontation. You kind of just have to deal with drama, even if you're not really trying to look for it.
Yeah.
But as an adult, it's nice that people are able to put stuff aside. Like, hey, let's just have a good time.
Yeah, man. Let's just play Smash.
Yeah,
bro.
n-
I just
yeah,
want to play HDR.
I feel like nowadays if we're talking about like drama or gossip, like if it's not related to me or
Yeah.
someone that I'm close to, I'm like, oh, whatever. Like I don't,
Yeah, it's
I don't really
cool.
care.
Good to know. And
It's
then-
like, yo, you'll never
Good to know,
guess.
exactly.
You'll never guess who got a divorce again. It's like,
the seventh
no
one.
way.
Unless they ask you for advice, right? Then that's where you offer your piece.
Yeah.
Of
Exactly.
Yeah,
if they offer me for my like,
But I would say that's like probably different than gossip per se, and more so like, hey, like I had a fight with so and so. I need a perspective.
yeah.
Yeah, that's-
It's
yeah.
establishing that difference, right?
Yeah. Because we all go through arguments and fights.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
people we
like
love.
turmoil and shit like that. It's just normal to conflict every now and then.
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting there and listening, be like, oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
Sorry about that.
At my workplace, I do that a lot. Like, I have a lot of coworkers that just love like trauma dumping, and I'm not really that close to my coworkers, and they're just talking, and I'm like, "That's crazy." And I caught myself saying that twice, and they're still talking, and I'm like, "Fuck!" Because at my work, I'm like a team lead, so like I'm responsible for like the responsibility of other workers, and like this is one process where we're like kind of rolling up pre-rolls with. I wrap them around with Keith, and like I'm like walking around tables checking the quality of the pre-rolls. I'm not there to listen to people. One of them just starts small talk, and I'm like, okay, and then they like continue talking about their life story, and I just wasn't prepared, and I was like, bro, I left the social work department a while ago, man. Like, I'm sorry.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, like, and it's so sad because I'm so focused on trying to like increase the productivity of the company that I've lost the ability to really like be listening to strangers,
Yeah.
right? To be kind to other people, right? Because like I'm not saying we're gonna be besties with every coworker, but I definitely think not always thinking in the realm of like, oh, it's all about numbers. I'm like, hey, how are you today outside of work? How are you, right? Which is like something that like I caught myself doing, like, oh, I've succumbed to like the
corporate
the
lifestyle.
corporate lifestyle,
Yeah,
like
the
that
corporate
badly
lifestyle.
that when someone's
Yeah.
telling me like something that's like really fucked up, like oh, I had a relative pass away like 2 months
Yeah.
ago, like so like because like actually I'm not gonna share the personal story, but like yeah, like some relative passed
Yeah,
away.
yeah, some fucked up shit
And
happened.
I
and
was
you're
like,
"That's
oh, I'm so sorry, like condolences, and then I just like left. And, like,
I'm so
typed-
sorry.
I
Condolences.
just
That's
typed my
crazy,
fucking
bro.
numbers in my computer, and I was like, wow, I've lost my sense of humanity. Like that, I remember reflecting about that. I was like, dude, that was so fucked up. of
You
me.
go back and just click, clack, click, clack, click.
No, but bro, like when you are like in a high pressure situation, like a full time job that like requires you
for sure. I
a
get
lot,
you. I get you.
you lose your humanity a little
You
bit.
do.
Oh no,
Yeah.
for sure, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'll touch on that when we get to the other point. but
Perfect.
I guess
I'll-
let's,
Yeah, oh yeah, Lawrence, you want to add on?
So, if we're gonna be talking about high school, compared to now, I'd say other than like shared common interests and like, because even back then, it was out of convenience, and I was actually one of the only people that would drive within my friend group. So I was like, shit, bro.
Oh, you were that guy.
I was that guy with the
Oh,
license,
man.
right? That guy that could be like, oh, wants to make moves after school, and they're like, oh, are we transiting? And I'm like, no, I drive. Right? They're like, oh, even better. Right? Oh crap.
Ooh, let's go to Chinook.
Let's go.
Lawrence has a car.
Yeah, and then following that, like, as soon as I don't even sure if like some of these friends even drive anymore, but like following that, I was just like, yo, y'all got your licenses now, and I'm not kind of needed, right? So
Yeah.
it was transactional.
Yeah.
Right. And
Mhm.
also, what was fucked for me, like even in high school, was my friendships were based on the fact that like, it was unhealthy growth, right? We had the same interests, but we have to be able to. It was so fucked. It was like one upping each other and shit like that. It was
It's
always being like, oh yeah, like we're still friends, but we're still constantly like growing.
competition, not cooperation.
Yeah,
which-
exactly.
Yeah.
It was so fucked.
You never stop
Um,
growing.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, like she got like also like such a big dance thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
competitiveness and
I-
like that growth aspect, right?
Yeah. Sorry. go on. I'm
Yeah,
not
but
interrupting.
there was that, and like growing out of high school and stuff like that. I was just like, yeah, this is such an unhealthy way because I thought I could bring it into gaming, right? And I
Yeah.
was like, but at the end of the day, you have to grow the craft, and if you just can't invest as much time, then it's like, okay, then I don't want to be friends with you anymore.
Yeah.
We don't have that interest anymore, or like, you're just so good that like it's discouraging me, right? And then I just
Yeah.
come off.
I think because like me and Ronald were obviously in the same setting for a while with comes to dance, so like
Yeah.
I think competitiveness was something that was very instilled in us, and a
Yeah.
lot of our friends, like it was very hard to like really just think in the realm outside of dance. And even when I left, like that competitive energy I found in other places, like when it came to like Smash, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, meeting those people that like are so obsessed with being dominant,
Yeah.
like they crave
Right.
power that
Mm.
they're willing to throw away like they hurt like people around them just so they can get a W or just so they can be
Yeah.
like
Like thrive.
yeah they
Yeah.
can thrive, right? And like they would then play a game of like verbal gymnastics, like, oh, this is just for us to like this is our squad so that we can get and grow better, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it's just like toxic love. Like it's
Yeah.
not genuine like compassion for others, right? And like I definitely think if you're someone who's trying to attain, like let's say you're like a pop star, like let's say you're Beyonce, you definitely need that hustle mentality of like producing, or Drake, you need to like produce stuff
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
time.
Uh-huh.
But when you're just meeting someone for the sake of meeting someone, like throw that competition out the window. There's really no competition. Like what do you like? You guys are having a dick measuring contest for no reason. Like there's really no reason to have
Yeah.
that. And I think I find that in a lot of groups of men. I don't know if it's just men being more competitive for whatever reason, but tend to just like value like competitives a lot more than other characteristics, right? Where
Yeah.
like I think what makes a friend a genuine friend is like love, not
Exactly.
hate, not one upping each other. It's actually just like, hey, I enjoy your company. That's it.
Yeah.
I think just to add on, I think especially with friends, there's a very big difference between like having the characteristic of being ambitious and competitiveness. I think
Yeah.
sure, they're correlated for sure, because I think being an ambitious person inherently makes you competitive. Because
I would agree with that.
you have to have some type of scale to compare yourself to, but it doesn't have to be to the point where it's like toxic. You know what I mean? We were talking about being in the same setting for a long time, and I think that like in terms of dance, like it was very much like me versus you.
Yes.
In competitiveness, where to be honest, that culture was trying to preach the opposite, but they were insinuating the latter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, like, you know, like it's all peace, love, we're a family, but you want to kill that fucking person beside you.
The thing is, I did not only find that behavior in like studios that we danced in, but also like even in like the street dance community too, where it's like the values are like peace, love, unity, having fun, each one teach one. But at the end of the day, it was more like they wanted to be the best at the craft. Yeah. And for like a business, and like not to shit on capitalism, whatever, like to be that guy, but like I'm trying to think of in the realm of like a business owner is that they had no time to foster relationship because like end of the day they need to make a profit, right? Make bread. They need to get wins to really prove to put quote unquote CAG in the map to like really show the results, but it came with a price. And like I honestly I would love to see if a place like any business like whether it be a sports team like because even I've been in soccer teams where like yes they are competitive and they're the best. But they still have some kind of bond where they're not shitting on each other. That there's some kind of brotherhood or like some siblinghood or whatever. But in that space, it was like, like this is for us to go stronger together. But it felt like we were tearing each other apart.
Yeah, it just never made sense to me that these people that I call my peers, the people who I consider close to myself, wanted to shit on me and tear me down and be better. And like, yes, at the end of the day, I am proud of you if you become better than me because that is the end goal. That's the end all be all. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I don't think you should use that type of language or use that type of attitude to like further their ambition or their hunger or their growth. You know what I mean? It's just toxic.
Those values are like the antithesis to community.
Yeah.
Like when you're preaching like, building community, a lot of like, I'm not going to dox, but there was one event that my partner went to and she was saying how like the MC was like either you are good and you know the culture, you know the skills, or you get out, right? And that's very like Los Angeles, like corporate cities, right? Where a lot of our studio heads would get their values from. But those values don't build community. They foster competition, and it's like very cutthroat, and like it makes people. It does like increase loneliness, right? And if we're gonna talk about adult friendships and intimacy, like you need to actually fight against those values sometimes. And like again, like you said, not like eliminating competition where you're lazy, still having healthy competition, but still putting your competition aside once the competition is over, and be like, hey. How are you? How's your day? Like let's have a good time.
It's all love after you guys compete. You know what I mean? Like, and even when you guys are competing, for instance, it's just like it's more like like I got you. Don't worry, I got your number. You know what I mean? Not like I'm gonna ruin your fucking life. Like,
it definitely felt like that. No, I agree. Yeah.
I feel like with friendships, if it's like a genuine friendship, competition is like. It's healthy to a certain extent. Like you need your friends to challenge you. But for both of you to like get better. Sure, it's all good, like, being all buddy and stuff and staying in your comfort zone. But if you don't push each other to be better, then you're both just gonna stay in the same place.
You gotta challenge your friends for sure.
But that's at one extreme. The other extreme is what you guys were saying. It's like where, you're just like you're pushing each other, but to a certain point where it's toxic. Like
you're punching down on your peer.
You're like like I'm better than you now. Like so what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, like I make this amount of money. Why the fuck are you still doing this? It's like, yo, you need to chill, man. Like I thought you were my homie. I thought you were my boy.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this in a previous episode. Wow, I can't believe I remember our previous episodes. But I think it's like
context learning, like like
what was it like the fucking
the grind hustle.
Everybody eats. Everybody eats.
Yeah.
So it's like if it's a like a genuine friend, genuine community, right? Once you yourself gain an upper hand, you kind of share the spoils so that everyone gets elevated too. Because if you get better yourself, and you're just bragging about it and not sharing those skills or that knowledge with your friends, then you're just selfish. You're not you're not really being a friend to those people.
Yeah. My girl took like a sociology class where she had to watch this one documentary about, it was like some rich dude who like learned the value of being poor. It was a weird documentary. But
Okay.
what
All right.
and I was, and, like,
Undercover boss.
Yeah. when I like it was, the theme was supposed to be like, you know, not rich in money but rich in like spirit. It was supposed to send a message of like money's not everything, but like this guy had the choice. Anyway, we're not gonna go into it, but there was one analogy you kind of used where like one like philosopher or some like intellectual was telling like, yeah, like there's a village, right? And how this village works is that like they have hunters and they have like gatherers, right? So the hunters would basically work together and be groups of men, right? And one of them would basically catch more than the others, right?
Yeah.
And at the very end, like when the hunters come back, they would share the resources with the entire village, the elderly, the kids, the ones who like maybe weren't as physically built to help others, right?
Yeah.
But the one, person who like caught the most or hunted the most got angry. Is like, well, you know, I did all this work. You know, what's the like, you know? And so he just started hoarding it. But the thing is, like, a lot of the food went bad. He's realistically not going to consume it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the thing is like he's working so hard to get what he deserves, but he's not going to use it, and so he doesn't really use it to help other people. He just uses it for himself, and ultimately it hurts him because he's isolating himself from the in group, and it hurts other people because he's not really lending a
Sure.
hand,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's not that you have to lend a hand, but in order to build community, it requires like some sense of like, hey, like it's not all about me. It's okay to now that I'm in a place where I retain a lot of resources, I now have the capacity to help others. So if I eat, everyone can eat. You know. Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of breaks up a lot of these friendship groups that came from, you know, high school or university coming into adulthood, is like one person just becomes more successful than the others, and you know sometimes that happens.
Yeah,
And
it's totally fair.
sometimes, you know, they become, you know, unrelatable, or the other people are just like, oh, like we really can't. You've changed, right? Like you're not really.
You switched up. You know.
You're not really one of us anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I've seen that happen a couple of times where it's like, either the person who has kind of leveled up in some sense is like, this is not really my group anymore,
Yeah.
or it's kind of like feels too good for his or her friend group.
Yeah.
Or the friend group is like, oh, we can't really vibe with you anymore. We don't relate with you anymore.
Yeah.
It's sad to see, but
It's sad because like it seems like a shift. I feel like a lot of that happens from like a shift of values. Like someone like, for example, like if one of us like popped off, like not to say we're gonna end the friendship, but like if you like are Mr. Worldwide and you're like,
Yeah.
you know, let's say like one of us was saying going into whatever, it's like your class and economic status is so out of reach to us that your reality is so different than ours. One of the statistics I was kind of finding is that like people tend to value friendships based on gender and economic class and same language when you speak the same language, right? But one of the things I was like kind of I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, economic class, because like when I talk to people who are a lot more wealthy than I am, you know, it's like so hard to relate to them because like
it is.
especially in university when like I took out a student loan and like some kid is complaining that their parents didn't buy them the right car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even own a car. I use my dad's when like you know he's done work and like, but I transit here like an hour 20-minute ride and like their reality is so untangible, like so out of reach that you can't really relate to them. And so it's like it's not that they're necessarily a bad person for being, I guess, wealthier than I am, but because their lifestyle is so different, it's hard to like really foster that intimacy, right? Yeah. And like it sucks when like people kind of move forward, and you're quote unquote moving behind, or you just move in a different direction. We'll say a different direction just for the sake, right? It's kind of hard to relate to people that you like, have such a different lifestyle from. Yeah. Like let's say your friend likes to party, and you're like, hey, I kind of want to stay home and
Chill.
chill.
Yeah. I guess to segue into the next section, like, is that why you guys think it's so much harder to make friends as adults? Because when we were in high school and we were younger, we were all kind of in the same playing field. We were all in like the level playing field.
immigrant
we're all,
families.
we're all we're all in the same kind of like we're all in school together. We were all generally we're all kind of broke. Broke high school, college students.
Second generation immigrant kids.
It was easy, yeah, exactly. So it was easier to kind of put away those barriers of like what you just mentioned, economic class or language or status, stuff like that, and connect more on a deeper level.
Yeah, because
But now, when we're adults, there's like you meet a lot of people from different that have different that are already like rich that are already rich
or broke as fuck.
or broke
like,
as fuck.
yeah.
So it's like harder to find those people because you're kind of like in a bigger.
Also, there's another
Bigger.
thing. Like, also, if like you meet someone and they're like married, have kids,
Yeah.
and like you're the same age, and so they're like
Yeah.
a father, and so their
Ah.
philosophy is like taking care of their kids and like being a
Yeah.
father, and you're
That's their priority.
and you're like, yeah, I like to go to New Balance every Friday or some shit.
yeah.
Just living life still.
Yeah, right. It's like it's not. It's
It's not a bad thing on
to each
either
your own.
ends.
Yeah, like we obviously want to be accepting of that people choose different paths, and there's no straight ways to success, as you always say, right? Like a lot of my coworkers would ask me like, "Oh, do you have kids?" Right? And like a lot of people at my age like have kids,
Yeah,
and like
it's not uncommon anymore.
it's not uncommon, right? And like I used to be
crazy.
the thing is like we're actually supposed to be that liar. Actually, I haven't really checked the ratio between people our age of having kids, but I'm pretty sure if I make this claim right that like people are having less kids nowadays, and probably for different reasons.
Yeah.
Money is probably one of the biggest variables I find.
You know,
But yeah, a lot of like the older like workers who are like a lot from a different generation, like why don't you have kids yet? It's like, bro, I'm broke as fuck, man.
yeah, bro.
It's so expensive. To
Yeah.
It's expensive.
start
Man.
a family.
Yeah,
But when I talk to like the coworkers who are my age, they're talking about their kid. And like, yeah, I just took little Timmy to bed. I'm like, I just and like, I didn't sleep until like 1 a.m. and like, cause they have that like primary caregiver persona, right? Which is very like hard to get out of, because they have to take care of a whole life. And me, I'm like, I went to bed at 9 and woke up at like 12 the next day.
yeah. I went to bed at 10, woke up at 12, and beat my meat maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
In
Then went back to sleep.
Time, I went
And
back to
then
sleep and woke up.
Beat my meat again.
Play some games,
And then hopped on Discord.
Hey, yo, anyone got a mic?
What do you got, Mike?
Yo, I just woke up, guys.
Yeah, I think coming back to that question, I think it's actually like not saying that like as adults we don't really see personality and stuff, but I think it's just a lot easier to like people when you don't have those barriers in front of you.
Exactly.
Right? Like it's like you really do see those people as like who they are. You know what I mean? We talk a lot about common interests, and it's like it's a lot easier to see that person for their common interests and like who they are as a person, like if they're kind, if they're nice or whatever, because it's like there really isn't anything that's like restricting them or benefiting them in it to show those types of traits or whatever, or those types of interests, right? Like if yeah, we mentioned we were all like really fucking broke in high school, which is like a fact. It's like, yo, if you were like in the Yu-Gi-Oh club and you had all these people who like were really into Yu-Gi-Oh, like you knew that like they grinded for those Yu-Gi-Oh, so they're actually really passionate about it. So it's like that's actually a very passionate common interest that you guys share.
Yeah.
Or like even Smash Bros. Like if you're going to tournaments in high school and stuff like that, and like you're actually spending like your hard-earned money to like hang out with your friends after and stuff like that. That's how you know that like they're actually about you, because I think yeah, sure, we do categorize high school as like proximity friendships as well, but it's just like I think it was also a little bit more value. There was also a little bit more value to it because we're all making like pretty big money now as adults. In high school, it's like you're making like what, like $200-$300 maybe every 2 weeks, maybe every month.
I'm making
max.
zero, bro.
Yeah, like, and it's like $20 was a lot of money back in the
Yeah,
day, right?
yeah.
So it's like if you had to spend like $20 to eat with your homie, like that meant you really wanted to hang out with them.
Yeah.
It meant that like you were actually about them.
Bro, I spent
like a
$20
food
for
court.
coffee, man.
Yeah,
I just lose money, bro.
Walmart, McDonald's.
Yo, like that, like. Yo, I went to like Chipotle with Beacon today, and it's like I spent like 30 bones on like 2
Yeah.
meals, and it's like damn, like I cough and like fucking money falls out of my ass and shit. Like,
Yeah.
Chipotle.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember like
The lineup was so fucking long, man.
so deep, bro.
in high school, like it was so easy to be frugal, but now like I just breathe and like, or like I would just wake up the next day and look at my bank account like, why am I missing $200? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Got bills to pay.
Got bills to pay. Just like fucking, you want sustenance but don't want to work for it. It's like you just.
But to answer your point of like the difference between proximity and like taking time to see someone is that like we don't have to show up to said activity by our own free will. We go and see a person.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Which I think really shows like it kind of shows like, hey, like, you know, I'm glad you're here. You took like it. It's more. I'm trying to find a word to describe it. Like, yeah, it's like more intimate, more like, hey, I'm
More
glad
thoughtful.
you came. You
It's a
know?
meaningful visit.
It's a meaningful visit. That's a good
rather
word.
than just like, you know,
Yeah, that's
you
a
just show up and it's like, oh hey man,
yeah.
hey.
It's a great way of describing it. It's a more meaningful visit as opposed to like, oh, you're here because of
X,
you're
Y,
supposed
Z.
to be,
Yeah.
because that's always but you're here because you want to, right? Which, yeah.
Whereas like I think now, yeah, sure, like money does get in the way, and like and I think like social class for sure, and I think people a lot of people now as we get older move a lot weirder, like personally, just because they're just like their values are very very influenced now, and like stuff like that, and like, you know, we all lived like different lives and very lived experiences, so a lot of people tend to be very passionate about those lived experiences, so that's why I feel like it's a lot harder to like really, you know, be friends with people because they're so set in their values, and it's like you really only are friends with other people with the same value sets most of the time. There are like a lot of exceptions, but I think it's just a lot harder now to see someone who's on the street who you're like trying to like just say like they're like a stranger, and you just say hi, and it's like it's really hard to kind of become friends with people like that, or even like in class, like now that I'm like more of an adult student, like it's a lot harder to like really relate to people, or like to you know, get to know people, just because their values are so much more different than mine. And not saying that like I want to be surrounded with people with the same values, but it's harder to relate to them. And that's already a breaking point in like in trying to get close to them and be vulnerable and be a little bit more intimate, and having those values. And then on top of that, you have to consider city, location, shit like that. Like it's a whole thing. And so there's a lot of dynamics to making friends, but I do think that now as an adult it's a little harder, just because not only do you value your time more, but they also value their time more. So it's like, you know, why would I spend all this time trying to get to know a new person when I can just spend more of my time enriching the friendships I already have?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I think that's why like a lot of adults or like grown people, they only have, I think you mentioned this stat before, like 3 to 4 close friends.
That was a common theme around a lot of the
because
data I was looking at.
you don't have a lot of time now to meet new people, so it's like, you know, you got work 9 to 5, you got a family. If you don't have a family, maybe you have a girlfriend, maybe you have like your parents to take care of, maybe you have a dog, you know. So it's like, where in my 24 hours am I going to spend time to, you know, meet new people? Like, is it even worth the effort? Right. So
time, I think time is a good variable. Another thing that like kind of like popped my head when Ron was speaking is that, and like again, I know you mentioned like, you know, like I just watched a YouTube video, and like I find that like social media is very much of a rage bait nowadays, where a lot of people just kind of get people to hate each other for no reason. But there were some statistics I found that were like pertain to America, and like technically speaking, you know, we're in Canada, but America, I find when there's cultures, the culture value of America changes, like we kind of degrade them, and like it kind of influences us. Where I find there's a lot more people who are more individualistic, of like, oh, it's like you can't tell me what to do, it's about me, you know, just like the individual, which like is good. I think it teaches people to be more self-competent and to think for themselves, and not just like, you know, like relying on other people to be codependent. But I think that comes with a price, because I find that a lot of people, you know, the hustle instead of the helper, or the competition instead of the cooperation, you know, where a lot of people value more of like getting their bag of like, you know, in order to, you know, be a man, you need to do X, Y, and Z, right? Where like it's no longer defined about like the friends you have, or the you being a kind person, right? Where I don't know, I just find that, you know, sometimes when you have a group of people valuing like the self so much to an unhealthy amount, you can't really make friends like that. like you eventually have to break or like move the line a little bit when it comes to making friends, because like I don't know, I find that like especially speaking to just when I meet new people, they're very much like I find they're very much the same. Just like oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Which like it's and I can imagine it's hard for them like in their current lifestyle to slow down, but they don't really give them chances to stop, even if they have the autonomy to stop, to like unwind, take time for themselves, or take time with their loved ones. Right? It's more of like I have things to do, right? Because like yes, there's only 24 hours a day, like and like it's hard to allocate that time, but sometimes I do find that we sometimes fill up our schedule just for the sake of being busy for like growth, that we don't really allow ourselves to make time for the ones that we love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think that's a huge part of like self-care too.
Yeah.
Making time with the people that you want to spend time with.
Yeah.
And just putting that off to the side is just so unhealthy because I get it. At the end of the day, you only have yourself. But when you do need people, like, where will they be if you're not going to be like hanging out with them regularly, right? Because what you can also ask yourself what message does that also give off if you're just taking you're taking your off days to not hang out with anyone, and you're just going to take them to yourself. And I understand that some people work good on their own, but your friend recognize that your friends miss you and they recognize you. Right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like just the hyper individuality, because I get myself caught in that a lot of times where like I'm like, oh no, I'll be fine. But it's like, yo, I haven't seen I haven't seen you guys in a while. Actually, now I think about it, where it's very difficult. I'm like, dude, I need to fucking fuck off work.
Yeah,
and stuff.
And take some time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I definitely like. Oh shit. I definitely find myself like in that loop too. Like it's I think I was talking with Lawrence before I went to school, and I was just like, man, it's gonna be really hard to find time to like spend as much time as I do with my friends, and then add Beacon into it, like add my girlfriend into it, and regulate that properly.
More people, more time to allocate.
And it's like and like at one like at some on some weeks or even some periods of time, I'll be like, oh fuck, like I haven't seen this person in a while, like I wonder how they're doing, you know what I mean? Whereas like before, it was just like when I was kind of like just working full time, dicking around, like it was I never really had those thoughts. I was just like kind of like, oh, like if I want to go see them, I'll just hit them up, you know what I mean? Whereas like now it's like, fuck, like I really do want to see this person, but like when's my next free date? Like it's like 2 weeks from now on a Wednesday. It's like I hope they're free.
This podcast, dude.
Oh my god, man.
We're supposed to record in like September, right? August, yeah. We scheduled September, and then we schedule it the middle of October, and we're probably gonna publish this in November. Yeah. No, it's true.
Okay, like when to meet for a hangout.
No,
that's
my
when
friends use that too.
That's when you know you're an adult, when you have to use like scheduling programs to figure out when people are free. And fuck, man, it's so sad.
I would have so much pride. Be like, no, I don't want to grow up. Like we could just make time. You don't have to use the app. But like realistically, I think
no, like Deacon and I we both live like very different lives, and it's just like. I have a shared Google Calendar with her. So it's like, I know. So it's like, okay, you want to hang out this day, but let's see what's going on that day. You know what I mean? Or like, I can hit her up and be like, okay, like, hey, I know you're free this night. Like, let's go out. Let's go on a date or something and do something like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's scheduling is very, very useful for sure. Especially, and I should start incorporating this with our group of friends. Like,
I was gonna say it's only one person you're doing that for. Yeah. And now you gotta add like
6,
7 men,
and like 4 of them won't even update their availability, bro.
Like, I don't want to use the fucking app.
So I have a story about that. It's pretty funny. So one of our friends, from one of my friends from uni, he just recently got engaged, or not recently. He recently got engaged 3 months ago.
Damn.
So
congrats.
Or 2 months ago, two months ago. And then he was like, oh yeah, let's go meet up to celebrate. I really want to do this in person. I'm like, buddy, we are all working, and we're not gonna get everyone. So we're finally gonna meet up next week on Wednesday for lunch. And it took us 2 months to get that's not even the full group, and he finally said, you know what, let's just meet up. The excitement has died down. We're just like, who?
Yeah,
like, just tell us who it is. Like, just tell
I'm
us
getting married.
it's kind of sad, but like I feel like as an adult or as a grown person, we just gotta accept that sometimes like you're not gonna get the full group.
Yeah, you aren't.
It's sad. Like sometimes you're like, oh, like, but we really want like this person or this like we
Yeah.
haven't seen this person in so long.
The one night we were playing Dragon Ball, we had almost everybody except for one.
Yeah.
And I was so sad. I was like, bro, I wish he was here so bad.
Yeah.
Which one?
Like, we're playing.
Oh.
Like, we're missing,
That one.
yeah, we're missing him,
It was
and I was
close.
like-
It was close. Yeah,
I was
that was the last time we probably all hung out together. Like our particular group of friends. That was probably the first time we had like almost all the members since like someone's birthday. It was someone's birthday that we had all our members, including Flores.
Yeah, because Flores flew from Vancouver, and I felt so bad because I was trying to host him up, so I like, took him everywhere, and like I was falling asleep, and I was like this, like literally this guy has a video of me on a Snapchat, and like literally they're all here, and we finally got everyone together, and I'm like,
Yo, like give me like half an hour.
yeah,
Yeah.
I fell fucking asleep, but
That's okay, you know.
Yeah.
You recognize the fact that you are
Yeah.
adjusting. That's okay.
damn man. But yeah, it was like one of those things like fuck man, everyone's here, but I'm gassed as
It's
fuck.
like it's like whenever whenever we try to get like our old group of high school friends together, and it's like it's always that like I don't want to dox him, but it's always that one dude that never shows up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
I think so.
Yeah. We all have a person.
know who
We
you're
all
talking
have a
about.
person in
I have one
mind.
person in mind.
We all have a person in mind, and I'm pretty sure it's the same person.
Okay,
It's the
cool.
same person.
Yeah. So it's like it like and to be honest, we all love him so.
Okay, I know
much.
what you're talking
We
about.
all love him.
Yeah, we-
Like we all like including this guy. Like we all love him so much.
Yeah.
But we just like every time we try to hang out, he's
like a-
just not there, and it's like yo, like. So I get it.
He was there at the
like,
party.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah. But I wasn't there. You know, it's like fuck.
Why do you, like, oh, I love my girlfriend so much.
I'm tired.
So it's like you know, it's just I get it. It's so hard now to like get everyone together, and it's so hard to accept the fact that like you know,
It's hard to
not
accept.
everyone's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Just because like we're all living very different lives, and it's not as easy as like high school where like pretty much like 50% of us were unemployed and not doing anything. Like now it's like we're all pretty much employed, like we're all pretty much like, you know, either doing full-time shit or we have other people in our lives that we got to prioritize as well, and like other responsibilities. So it's like it's hard. Like I get it. Because I was actually thinking about this the other day. I'm like, literally the only time you're ever gonna have that whole group together is like a really big accolade, like someone gets married, or like or you know, someone's moving away.
They're having a
Right?
kid, or
Yeah, they're having a kid, like
Baby
they're having a
shower.
baby
Oh,
shower or
yeah.
something like that. Right? Like it's
third wife, you know.
like that's probably gonna be the like now that we're getting older, those are probably only going to be the only occasions where, to be honest, you see the whole group all together.
Yeah.
And we just gotta be okay with that.
Yeah,
And
we
it's
gotta
kind
be
of
okay
like
with
hard
that.
to accept as
Yeah.
well.
Because
Because I know for that specific person, we were kind of like, oh man, we were kind of like not disappointed, not like kind of in between disappointed and kind of like frustrated.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, like why can't you just come this like one time? You know, like we haven't seen you in so long. Just come, you know, like. But you know, we know people are busy.
Yeah, I get it.
It's hard to be mad at him because he's such a nice dude that like it's like, but I want to see you so bad. It's for my own selfishness. I just want to see you.
I just want to see your
my
face.
selfish like feeling. Like I don't want to see you in just some random place on the street one day. Like I want to see you where everyone's
out with
there.
you.
We sit down, we laugh about the
Yeah,
good old time. Like
yeah.
you want to see this person. No.
I think that's what was good about the pandemic, because it was so convenient just to hop on a Discord call.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as
Yeah,
meeting.
it's
Not
virtual.
the same.
Yeah, it's
not the
like
same.
you guys would play games and stuff, and like what else
Yeah.
would you do, right?
Your mouth breathing.
I think like the first time like we hung out in person was just like such a dopamine rush for me. Like after the pandemic, I was
Big
like,
boner,
yo,
you know.
my god, like I was
You
like,
could see them. You
I
could
was
see
like,
'em.
my friends.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. It was weird because like I remember during COVID, I spent 4 months inside my house. I actually just didn't leave. The only time I ever left was to step outside the door to like get some sunlight, but I didn't actually leave the house. Like I was still in the vicinity of like.
Grab your Uber Eats.
Retreat.
Retreat into the darkness.
The thing is, I deleted my Skip Dishes, DoorDash, and Uber Eats during the pandemic, so I actually made a lot of money because I just fucking banked it and then used it to pay off loans. But when like the pandemic was quote unquote over, like it wasn't really like a date. It was we just had like kind of permission to see people.
It was just like an era.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of.
Like the first function, I don't even remember what the first function was. It's probably like our common friend that we went to the party recently.
Yeah.
Like let's have a game night, and like when I went there, I was like, like it was like, oh wow, like it's people like I haven't seen you guys in so long, and like especially when like 2 years, it almost felt like we lost 2 years of our life.
Yeah.
And then like not being able to see them for that long, and then you see them in flesh and blood without any mask on, and you're like, oh, I'll give you a kiss, whatever. It's really like such a good feeling. It's like wow, we really are social creatures. Like people like want to be like independent bad bitch so bad. Like come on, man. Like everyone needs somebody, Yeah. But yeah, we kind of answered the fourth question, like what's stopping people from making new friends. But yeah, any other talking points?
I guess like going back to the workplace front, because when we were younger, how we would make friends is in a common place, right? So school, whatever, church, make some friends at church, pray to Jesus.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
but now most of us are at work, so like most of us are at work like majority of like
Our lives,
our time,
yeah.
right now. So, but it's so hard to make friends at work.
Yeah. I don't.
One is like, I don't know about you guys, but like in my workplace, the people are just like out of my age range, and
Yes.
I cannot
Yeah.
relate to
so
them.
old.
They're so fucking old.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Or like if they're trying to relate to you, it's just so out of touch.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
They're
like,
talking about like I inherited some land from my grandfather. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it's like my dad just passed away, so I inherited a whole ranch, and it's like what? Like
It's like
huh? Like how old are you? And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm 42. It's like what?
and like going back to that kids thing too, like a lot, like when I overhear conversation between like the people like the same age range,
Yeah.
that's all they talk about. Like I think we talked about it in the previous episode too. Like people would just be, oh, how are the kids? Like, what did you guys do this weekend?
Like they'll be like, oh, like Sally just hit high school, and I'm
yeah,
like, yo,
that's how it is. That's
it's like,
exactly
yo,
how it
I
is,
just
bro.
got out of high school like fucking
I'm
8
like,
years
I don't
ago.
give
what
a
the
shit
hell?
about your kid. Yo, what memes do you look at?
Okay.
Or it's like, oh, Richard just went into the same engineering program you did. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
they're comparing each other's kids. Like, oh, I'm now in a different perspective. I'm seeing these motherfuckers compare their kids, and these kids hate them. I just know. No, for sure. Like, because I was kind of mentioning the previous story of like the person that was telling me about her sad story. She is like a decade older than me, right? And like everyone in my workplace is like an old tita. Like I have a lot of Ethiopian, Sudanese, and Filipino workers, and they're all like old, have kids, and they keep like when they talk about their kids, they talk about what they do in their free time. Like I just picked up like an overtime shift for my other job, and I'm like, that's crazy, bro. You should be retiring. Yeah, but like I've been finding that like I don't know, it just the working class is having a hard time retire, and like I can see that there's just like first of all, just the age is a big difference, but also just of like we just had different lives.
Yeah.
Like you just had like of course, because a lot of them also are like first generation immigrants, and like we were born and raised here, right? So like their perspective on like living life is like a lot different.
Yeah.
For us, it's, I don't know, like we're just more, I would say maybe carefree, if that's a good word to maybe put it. But like we don't have any kids, and we're like, oh, I'll see what happens. But for them, it's more like you need to do this. There's a certain way of living. So it's like it's a big like culture shock kind of being around people like that, and they're all like old. It's like I don't have anyone to kind of talk to that's in my age range that doesn't have kids that
Age range and demographic too is important.
Yeah.
A lot of people in my work, it's oil country, so a
Yeah,
lot of them are white.
Yeah.
So it's like
18 naked cowboys in the shores ran.
so it was like they were so a couple of these guys that I work with up there. They're asking me like, I was telling them, oh yeah, I'm going to Vegas for my birthday week, and they're like, oh yeah, what are you doing there? And I told them, yeah, I'm gonna go watch Cirque du Soleil, and I'm gonna go watch Jabberwockies, and they were like, oh, what's that? I'm like, you don't know Jabberwockies?
Bro, what the fuck? You don't know Jabberwockies?
it's a combination of age range and demographic because those guys are like in their 40s.
They're
Those
probably
guys
And they're white.
Yeah,
Casino
those guys are probably
strippers,
like
like-
casino strippers. Like, yo, you gotta hit like this one casino. Like, I had a crazy bender there when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
recommending strip clubs to me. I'm like, bro, I'm going with my girlfriend.
I love my girlfriend.
I love my girlfriend.
I love my girlfriend.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, because like for us, fucking dick riding ABDC, you're like, yeah, bro, the Jabberwockies.
Jabberwockies, bro.
Season one.
They're like, oh yeah.
So, like,
I line dance, you know. Like,
Yeah, and like I've seen circus like once. There was one in Calgary. I went. I know like my nonprofit hooked me up with like free tickets. I think I'll post about it. It was pretty nice. But like, you know, that's things that I feel like we can relate to. Like, yeah, that's fun to watch. For them, it's like,
Who the fuck is
It's
that?
like, why don't I want to watch like 8 dudes in a mask dance around on a stage?
I don't want to see you do
Yeah,
flips.
fuck masks.
Yeah, I want to see some titties. I want to see some ass, some titties.
throw money at it too.
And then when I told them that I went to see AJ Raphael in Berkeley, they were like, oh, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Who the
Let me go grab my ukulele.
Bro, he's the Filipino god. What do you mean you don't know?
stand
he
for
is?
the Filipino national anthem, please?"
It's like you didn't go see Clay Aiken? Like that guy's like
Like, who the fuck is that?
You're watching fucking Nickelback or some shit.
So it's just hard to relate to coworkers sometimes. But if you get like coworkers that are the same age range, they don't necessarily have to be the same demo. I think age range is more important than demographic.
Oh, for sure.
Because like at least you have a little bit of similar experiences, and also like I found this. I do this a lot. Like when people ask you at work how you're doing, you automatically go to like work related stuff. Like how are you doing? Oh yeah, work's like this. But then they ask me like, but what about outside of work? So I actually had this experience last week with my old manager because I had to.
Oh, he put you on the spot. Like, oh, fuck, I don't answer this.
They actually put you on the spot. They're like, oh, but what about like your personal life? And I'm like, oh shit, like I wasn't prepared for this.
Oh,
right?
Mobby.
The numbers are not computing.
I think it's what you said. What you said earlier too about like the corporate,
Took over your lifestyle.
yeah. So it's like when you're always at work, you don't have time to think about this stuff. You're just thinking about work. So when someone asks you how you are outside of work, you're like, oh fuck, how am I outside of work? I don't know.
And like you lose your sense of identity. Like, why do I exist just to suffer?
And then combine that with the fact that you can't relate to them. Like, what do I tell them?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because especially if you know they're of a specific demographic and they're into like fishing or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
they're those guys that take pictures with fishes like this. Like, what do you tell them? Like,
yeah, I caught a 37-inch trout the other day.
like, yeah, like I just built a PC, right? Like, oh, what's
What's a PC?
Oh, you're playing
big
Roblox?
laptop?
My son plays Roblox.
my son plays Roblox.
My son loves his computer.
Like, no, I'm playing
Those darn
Baldur's
computer
Gate.
games.
But yeah, like you instead of thinking about what you're actually doing, you find things that you think that they would also have a
Exactly.
common interest.
Yeah. And that's why it's hard to make friends at the workplace because it's so hard to be genuine. Like,
It's like, oh, how's the kids, Jeff? It's like,
I actually wanted to ask Lawrence about that because I know
Yeah,
like it's your
So actually, yeah, like it's been kind of easy for me to be honest, because even though they say my child just started like junior high or high school, right? Because we can all in a sense still provide that relatability of I went through this too while I was at that point in their age. It's still so recent, it's still so fresh, right? And then also, I don't know, my corporate culture at work is actually pretty nice because we're all just so involved with each other. So, at where I work, we're all about expression. So the biggest thing that biggest connection that you could make at work is just how someone can express themselves, right? And see what their general interests are, just so you can like kind of have a relationship come out of that, right? Or some
that's
sort of
dope.
connection. And like through that, it's been pretty easy for me to make friends. Other than the fact that it's so role based, like for mine at work, right? And I'm sure it could be the same could be said for you, Vince, where it's divided up into departments.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for me to meet other people. I recently saw someone who looked about my age, but I never got the chance to talk to her. So
her.
This
woman.
76 woman that got away.
never, like,
She slipped through my fingertips.
It was, but it's just like on top of that, it's just the fact that I've never seen her anywhere else other than that situation, right? Like we don't work in the same department at all,
Yeah.
right? there's not that convenience aspect of
Exactly.
getting friends, right? So most of the time it is people within my department as well. But also it's also breaking down the positional aspect. Like, oh yeah, I'm your VP or like I'm your supervisor, I'm your manager or whatever. But yo, like that shouldn't matter. For
Yeah, you can just talk to me about anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like also establishing that, getting your coworkers to also open up, can open up that possibility of them being your friend outside of work.
Exactly.
My manager was talking to me about how she liked to go to like EDM festivals in her free time, and I was like,
Yeah, probably
I
sooner there.
I don't do that. But good for you, right?
Yeah.
But it's cool that I think that when you have people that at least try to like, foster something.
Yeah, it's just making sure that you really do share that common interest, like even during like occasions too. So like for example, another thing you could also bring up during our time of filming too is like Halloween, right? Even Christmas, the holidays, the functions that people do or like the things that they do over the holidays or over those specific events can also be shared.
Yeah.
And that could also grow a friendship too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, oh, I love haunted houses, and I'm like, oh yeah, me too. Right.
Let's go Screamfest together.
Screamfest.
Yeah.
Did we go to Screamfest? What was that thing we went to? That pumpkin?
Oh, it was It was I don't know if it was Screamfest, but it was like I think it was at the
Like a sister company or something like that.
Cobb's. Was it at Cobb's Adventure Park?
A corn maze?
No, it wasn't. It was like
There was a maze.
They're just scaring you the corn maze.
There was a maze. Yeah, there was a bunch of trailers and
It smells like coming here.
yeah, Jason screamed, "It smells like coming here."
Okay.
Made one of the
So
guys break character.
my goal when it comes to haunted houses is that like I do find haunted houses scary and I don't have a good time, but if I'm there for the sake of being there for my friends, I make it my goal to make the actors laugh. All right, so like I just like we were just walking like yo like it smells like coming here and like the actors like just turns around and we just keep going and like okay well that just totally ruined his whole scare tactic. Yeah, so but that was fun. That was fun. I was talking to my girl about this. She was saying how like I don't, even with you guys, I don't really open up about what's going on in my personal lives.
Yeah.
And so one of like I know we had an episode about New Year's resolution, and like for some of us, like I just do New Year's resolution whenever like I feel like hey I need to have a shift. It doesn't necessarily have to be on January 1st, but like one of the things I'm trying to work on is being more open about what's going on in my personal life.
Yeah.
Because every time there's like a conflict that happens, I kind of just solve it myself, which is not pretty good.
Superhero mentality.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. So like she was really like confrontational about it. It's like, hey, you need to stop being fucking, top G looking ass. You need to like really. Oh fuck. Yeah, you need to really like open up to like some of your peers. Like, okay, yeah. So like that's something that I was like trying to work on because like I think even in the past I've had that issue and like I guess that carried over as an adult, right? Where like I would never trauma dump because I'm like I would even though I would never say explicitly, I would like, oh, I don't want to look weak,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. And like you don't because you never really put that in your like conscious. It's more in the subconscious, right? It's like I don't do that, but like especially when like our friend group, right, where like someone's gone through breakups, whatever, and we had like talks where we just listened, right? And I was like, oh shit, like I don't really fucking open up like that, right? And like she was really adamant. I'm like, hey, like that's if you really want to like foster and like not like get rid of the idea of like being emotionally unavailable for other people, you need to be willing to. It's a very avoidant behavior. Like a lot of avoidant attachment people do that. And I was like, oh fuck, maybe I should, work on that. So yeah, definitely trying to. I think one thing that makes it hard for myself, but individually, I'm making friends is like, hey, I don't even open up myself, so how do I expect other people to open up to me, right?
Yeah.
It's a two-way street when it comes to that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, when it comes to that, especially, it just comes with practice.
Yes.
It's as much as you're willing to drop, and then if like we also like as friends, we should also be inquiring too if we can, and also understanding the boundary of like where the line is.
Do you want to talk about it? Or do you want to? Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly, and that mentality eventually drops, right?
Yeah.
And you'll be able to just be an active listener as well towards your friends, because I know that you can like listen super well, right? You're able to offer that advice, but let us do the same to you because we want to.
No, yeah.
It's just a relationship. Right?
I envy Flores a lot. I always mention him a lot because like even I can say like I think I've gotten better at active listening. Yeah. Because sometimes I do talk a lot, ramble a lot, but I can say confidently I've gotten better at it. But Flora is like I know like when we were at Kuza, I was like kind of small talk with Ronald towards what was going on. That was probably the first time I've actually shared anything like personal, right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so I should probably stop, just like because I think, and this is something that I kind of find common in other like male to male relationships is that I don't know what it is, whether how we were conditioned when we were younger or whether like, it just like maybe social media is having an impact. Like you're not supposed to do that. It's very taboo. It's very unpermissible. But it's like the fear of being scolded for sharing anything that makes you look quote unquote weak, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is also a barrier to a lot of men and everyone really, not just men.
Yeah, no,
So.
it's actually everyone.
Yeah, it's everyone, right? Like I'm also just looking in perspective of like male peers because that's we're men, men. That like a lot of people because they're kind of scared of like that there's some shame or someone maybe like might not take them seriously or like there's just like some variable that prevents them from really like actually opening up to someone because like in order for you to actually foster intimate relationships you have to be open and if like you're not even willing to be open yourself then how do you expect other people to be open to you so
The person's just like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's like I just sometimes like I'm really bad with being too open. Sometimes like I feel like some random person will be like, "Yo, so how's your day?" And I'll be like, "Yo, so I just went through the most fucked up shit the other day." But I think it's just good practice. In particular though, like and not necessarily to strangers, but I think it's just good practice in general to practice being open and vulnerable.
Yeah.
So you can kind of gauge like what type of level you're comfortable with because I do think that like there is a point of being a little too open. So it's like over the years you kind of have to gauge it, and I think that some people are just very familiar with just being very closed off and just being like be not necessarily surface level, but not letting the stuff that's going on in their lives bubble up too much because they don't want to like dampen the mood or they feel like they don't really have that. It's not the time or place.
Or they're burdening other people.
Yeah, they're burdening other people. Where it's like, I think people who are actually your close friends and who actually genuinely like enjoy your company and who you are as a person won't mind that. If anything, I think a lot of the times I do appreciate it when homies ask me how I am and then I ask them how they are and then they tell me something a little bit more vulnerable, a little more personal. I think that the one thing I've been appreciating recently is like Flores will be like, "Yo, boys, it's this time again," and like the group chat he'll be like, "How are you guys doing?" It's such a breath of fresh air because it's like okay, like you can see who's going good, you can see who's going bad, you can see who's just not really trying to be open or vulnerable right now, right? So I think that just in general, most of the time I'm just very much like I'm very down for like people to be like, oh, like when I ask them how are you and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, like I'm pretty good, but this is one thing that's bothering me, or yeah, I'm pretty good, but like honestly this one thing happened to me and it was really dope. Then like that I'm more appreciative because it gives me a better snapshot into their life and it gives me more in depth on like who they are and stuff.
I think one thing I appreciate about you, Ronald, is that you are willing to share because I think without that sharing, it's hard for people to get to know how someone is. Like I know, like Vince mentioned, like the girl troubles that through high school, but it also allows us to know like how can we help if there's ever a situation, right? Because I find that like when it comes to peer-to-peer relationships, if you don't bring it up in the first place, how does your friends help? But also this perspective of also inquiring, right? So it's one of those give and take of like hey, how are you? Like, how are you actually outside of work or whatever? To really like get to know someone. Like, some people maybe not be like, hey, I don't want to talk about it right now. Some people like, hey, I need someone to talk to, right? But it does take like, you to take the risk of telling someone what's wrong, and also you as a person to like also reach out to other people, right? We hear this all the time. Always reach out to people, right? But things in life kind of gets hard where we forget to do that. But like making it a habit within friendships really does like.
It's almost like a game of chicken. Sometimes you need that one person to say, okay, but how are you really? Because like people might be, stay on the surface level until someone is brave enough to say, okay, like what else is going on?
You also like or that one person who just overshares a little too much, and then you're like, oh, what was that?
Now I can share too. It kind of encourages the.
You have permission,
encourages one another to like share. which is good.
It's like,
Yeah.
like, it was pretty good. Like, life's good. Like, job's great. But, like, my grandma died the other day. And it's like, yo, no way, my grandma died too.
And my grandpa.
Same hospital.
Yo,
That's so fucked.
that's crazy.
And it's just like, okay, my cousin died. You just have like a dick match about who had more people pass away in your family. Yeah. No. Yeah. I definitely think it's because I remember like. I don't even remember like during our like university orientation there was this one guy who was talking about like men's mental health, like challenging men to like open up,
Yeah.
say one thing that they're scared of, and we were at a table.
Oh yeah, I
and
remember
none of
that.
us,
You were
for the
like,
life of us, could say shit. We're just like, who wants to go first? And none of us could say anything that like was really bothering us. So I wanted to share. It's like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was. Like, yeah. But yeah, like I think it's something that like I realized that I did retain still. I never like worked on it, but like as an adult, I'm like, probably shouldn't be doing that.
Because I feel like as social creatures, I feel like we want to share those things, but as society, the norm is like, oh yeah, just keep it surface level.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Top of the morning,
just top of the morning. How do you do?
Yeah. Like I was watching this like TikTok the other day where it was this like football company or soccer. It was this
Football.
soccer. It was this
Messi.
soccer football club. It was they're in the Premier League, but they made a they made kind of like a commercial where it's just like this dude who like looks like he's going through it, and then his friend kind of like cheering the team on and stuff, and it's like a whole montage of them like
Oh, I think
like
I'm
having
talking
fun
about.
and shit, and then like at one point people are like, oh, like it's like he ends up giving like the happy guy ends up giving him his like favorite scarf and shit like that, ends up giving him like a lot of stuff, and like you assume that it's just like, oh, like it's his friend trying to cheer him up, but then like at the end it's like the dude who looks like he's going through it like kind of puts the scarf down on the seat beside him, signaling that like the happy-go-lucky friend like actually killed himself.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I remember.
So it's like yeah. So it's like and then like the whole thing was like, oh, like the people may not be going through it, so make sure you ask them how they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
And like it was super important because I was like, yo, like, because it's like that dude wasn't trying to cheer up his other friend. He was literally like giving him all of his stuff so that like he
You can let go.
it's easier for him to let go of everything. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's a little heavy and it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
But like I think it's like very important when it comes to like friendships. Like you really should like be asking like people like how you are and stuff like that. Because like even like throughout the commercial, I was seeing like the guy who was going through it. Like the dude was like, oh, like the happy-go-lucky friend's like, oh, like how are you? Like I hope life is like like pretty good for you and stuff like that. But there wasn't any like interaction between the guy who was going through it. Like the guy who looked like he was going through it, he was just like, oh, life's good, it's chilling.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But you never really asked the other happy-go-lucky friend how like
Yeah.
he was, you know what I mean? So it's like it's a good message to be like, yeah, like not only like are the people that you think are going through it not really going through it, but it's also like, make sure you ask like your happier friends who seem happy, like how they are, like outside of like whatever shared interests you have, right? Like whether it be soccer or basketball or Smash Bros or work.
He's gonna die soon, but I saw some ad where it was like about a guy going through his like 9 to 5, and it was just zooming on his face of like him like looking like the whole life is sucked out of him, and there's one side character who was like, "Hey buddy, like how you work, whatever, right?" And then like
it was the BuzzFeed one, right?
I think so, yeah. And then like all of a sudden like someone's like, "Hey, so and so passed away. Apparently like he took his own life." Like they like whispered in his ear, and like he like paused from him, he looked behind him, and he wasn't there in the usual spot he's always sitting, like the happy-go-lucky guy, right? And it's like like. It's not to necessarily take away from your own suffering, but understanding that like other people suffer too, and like sometimes like going through it alone helps not just you but the other person. And instead of just thinking about like, hey, like it's easier to be mundane about yourself, but sometimes like having that kind of bonding where you're sharing from an experience or something that's bothering you can really uplift the spirit and kind of give people purpose and meaning. Any other?
Oh, I think to finish off, it's I was trying to remember this one quote. My
I'll keep talking.
this
I'm gonna
one
charge.
person that I work with has in their email signature. I can't remember the exact quote, but I think it goes like, "Be extra kind to people, because you never know like what they might be going through,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that kind of like goes through what
Sorry.
me check. What you guys are talking about, but yeah. No, I think we've covered everything.
Yeah.
We've talked for. All right, let's close this out quickly before Jason's laptop dies.
Cool.
We have time.
Healthy relationships are good. Check up on your friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
We hope to do this more. Hopefully, we keep this more consistent. Of course, the irony is that we're all adults.
We're all adults. We
Yeah.
have
Trying to
lives.
schedule some time. So, but it was nice to get back and do where we just have a circle jerk and talk about our feelings.
Yeah.
So
No, this was nice.
Yeah, this is good.
Be around.
Yeah, we'll be around.
Yeah, we got social links as well available in the description.
Let us also let us know what you guys might want us to talk about, because we're
Yeah,
we're running out
running
of ideas.
we're running dry. Vegan was like, yo, you guys should talk about a book, and I'm like,
A book?
like, no, I don't even have time to read a book.
Very hungry caterpillar, you know.
A book club.
I mean, Loki, I've been reading more, so I'll be down. But like
Anything by Robert Munch.
we would all have to read the book, which we would all have to allocate time to read the book. So maybe in the future, you never know.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. Fuck, how does it say? Shit. Yeah. Live, laugh, love your friends,
Live, laugh,
live your
love.
friends, and laugh with your friends.
Oh.
And make love to your friends. All right. And that's all for today.
And that's all for today. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram. Make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you guys follow our playlist on Spotify. And follow us on Podbean as well. We're gonna try to do this more consistently, like we all said. Thank you guys again for listening. And if we have one thing that you guys want, we want for you guys to get out of this podcast in particular, is make sure you check up on your friends. Maybe hit up like 2-3 friends you haven't seen in a while. Hey, tell them, hey, what's good? Like, how are you? How are you outside of work? How are you outside of our common interests? We want you to ask those questions. Make sure your friends are doing all good in the hood.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Easy, guys.
Thanks.